Hello there, lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. Today, the 27th of June in the year 2025. Let's now take a look at the top stories. Socialist Party demands full withdrawal of Bill 7, says deferment not enough. Inflation drop encouraging but structural reform still needed, says Economist. Foreign Affairs Minister warns of possible U.S. travel ban over passport and immigration concerns. In international news, U.S. funding cuts threaten youth programs at Kenya's KAKUMA refugee camp. In sports, Faith falls short of historic sub-4 minute mile but vows to keep pushing. Join us for these and many more stories after the break.
Immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Camnet TV Main News now live on Topsa Channel 106 and streaming live on Facebook, YouTube and Kenstream app as Camnet TV. With the main news in detail, I'm Tapelo Joe Smata. Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Mulambo Haimbe has revealed that Zambia is at risk of being placed on a United States travel restriction list due to the concerns over the security of its passports, weaknesses in immigration enforcement and limited cooperation in identity verification and repatriation processes. Addressing Parliament, Mr. Haimbe stated that the U.S. government had raised three key issues, including the integrity of Zambia's travel documents, difficulties in repatriating Zambian nationals living irregularly in the U.S. and insufficient information sharing between the two countries. He warned that failure to address these concerns could result in restricted access to the U.S. for Zambians, disruptions in bilateral programs, economic uncertainties, and damage to Zambia's international image and investor confidence. The minister further said government in response has launched a coordinated multi-sectoral response which includes a comprehensive review of the passport issuance system, enhanced enforcement of immigration regulations, and closer diplomatic engagement through Zambia's mission in Washington, D.C.
Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation has been closely monitoring the unfolding military tensions and hostilities between Iran and Israel, which have resulted in widespread insecurity, aerial bombardments, missile attacks, and heightened regional instability. The escalation, which has included direct strikes and proxy actions across the region, has presented grave risks to both civilians and military personnel. The impact on Zambians in the region. Madam Speaker, at the onset of the crisis, Zambia had and continues to have a number of nationals residing in both Iran and Israel. These included students, religious pilgrims, diplomatic personnel, tourists, and professionals working in various sectors. Given the unpredictability of the security situation, government activated its crisis monitoring and evacuation protocols in both countries. I'll begin by giving an update on the emergency response for Israel. Madam Speaker, There is currently a ceasefire in place between Israel and Iran. However, we are making necessary arrangements to evacuate our nationals in the event that it does not hold. Our mission in Tel Aviv immediately activated an emergency tracking and communication mechanism to account for all registered Zambians. Further, Madam Speaker, they conducted a route reconnaissance to establish the most suitable border crossing to exit Israel.
A consortium of civil society organizations coalition has strongly opposed the non-governmental organization Bill number 6 of 2025, warning that it threatens democratic participation, civic freedoms, and the independence of NGOs in Zambia. Speaking on behalf of the coalition, Gideon Musonda, Executive Director of the Advocates for Democratic Governance Foundation, said the bill in its current form is regressive and undermines the spirit of constitutional rights and inclusive governance. Among the most concerning, he said, are the excessive powers granted to inspectors, criminalization of minor administrative errors, restrictive licensing requirements, and burdensome reporting obligations. He noted that these measures would cripple smaller organizations and open the door to abuse and intimidation. The coalition also expressed concern over clauses that require ministerial approval for foreign funding and disclosure of donor sources without clear legal safeguards. Mr. Msonda argued that such provisions undermine NGO independence, contradict Zambia's constitutional guarantees under Article 21, and fall short of the country's obligations under international human rights treaties such as the ICCPR and the African Charter on Human and People's Rights.
If passed in its current form, the NGO Bill number 6 of 2025 will shrink civic space and silence critical voices, undermine advocacy, accountability, and the watchdog role of civil society. It will threaten grassroots development efforts and service delivery. It will also undermine Zambia's democratic credibility and international standing. Our recommendations. The civil society coalition urges the government and parliament to, 1, withdraw the bill to facilitate the review process. Number 2, simplify registration and reporting procedures. Number 3, make licensing voluntary and non-punitive. Number 4, guarantee freedom to receive funding, either domestic or foreign, without unnecessary restrictions. Number 6, define vague and broad legal terms to prevent abuse. Number 7, undertake inclusive consultations before enacting any regulatory framework for NGOs. And the last one, but not the least, align the bill with Zambia's constitutional obligations and international human rights commitments.
Minister of Justice Princess Kasune has commended President Hakainde Hichilema's decision to defer Bill number 7 of 2025, describing it as a bold and wise move aimed at promoting national unity and deeper consultation on constitutional reforms. Addressing the media in Lusaka, Ms. Kasune said the president's action was a clear demonstration of people-centered leadership and the government's commitment to inclusive governance. She noted that the determinant provides an opportunity to engage a broader range of stakeholders, including civil society, the church, student bodies, traditional leaders, and the general public. Ms. Kasune further emphasized that constitutional reforms must reflect the aspirations and values of the Zambian people, not just political interests. She thanked that those had offered constructive feedback and encouraged continued participation in the reform process. Meanwhile, Solicitor General Marshal Mujende dispelled claims that there was pushback from government regarding the need to have a consultative process on the proposed amendment bill.
The President's decision clearly underscores government's commitment to an inclusive governance as well as people-centered leadership and the promotion of national dialogue by engaging with various stakeholders, including the churches, church mother bodies, traditional leaders, civil society and different civil society organizations, student bodies, unions, marketeers, taxi drivers association, and indeed other groups. Our aim as Ministry of Justice on behalf of the government and indeed on behalf of the people of Zambia is to craft a constitution that reflects truly the aspirations and the values of the Zambian people. I also extend my appreciation to all the stakeholders who provided feedback on the proposed amendments. Your engagement and inputs are valuable and has led us to where we are. We are grateful not only for your passion, but your commitment to the Constitution.
I want to take this opportunity to say that the judgment of the Constitutional Court today is a demonstration that as government, as the executive, we do not interfere with the decisions of the court. We do not intermeddle. We don't back channel. We have no access to the judges when they are making their decision. This judgment should cast out any doubt whatsoever, if at all there's anybody who thought that the state engages in machinations to influence the court in making a decision in one way or the other. We may not agree with the decision of the court.
The Media Initiative for Women in Zambia has cautioned the government against secretly enacting Bill number 7 of 2025, making reference to the manner Cyber Crimes Acts were passed into law without broad public import. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Organization Executive Director Helen Mwale expressed concern over the apparent lack of meaningful national consultation on the proposed constitutional amendments. She questioned the intent behind the reform process, stating that without transparency and inclusivity, the legitimacy of the entire exercise would be compromised. Ms. Mwale, however, welcomed President Hakainde Hichilema's recent decision to defer the bill to allow for wider national engagement. She described the move as a commendable and democratic gesture that reflects responsiveness to citizens' concerns. The organization has since called on the government to ensure that the upcoming consultations are genuine, inclusive, and not merely symbolic.
As civil society organizations, as women, as girls that we represent, I think we've been calling for more time, for wider consultation. You know, ever since this bill was introduced, there's been an outcry that I think the consultative process was not what Zambia expected, because they felt that it was not genuine. However, there are some clauses, progressive clauses, that we noted in the bill. Despite having those clauses in the bill, where we will have more women in parliament, where we'll have young people and also people living with disability, those were progressive clauses. But then what we said was that I think the process that the government embarked on was not a very good process, because it was one process that was going to campaign them, one process that was going to make President Hakainde Hichilema unpopular. We are happy that what happened yesterday was one thing that we've all been asking for, to defer the bill to another, to a more wider consultative process. However, as we would like to appeal to the President not to go the route they had taken when he's signing the cyber security and cyber crimes bills into law. We all know that those bills were deferred, but the only thing we heard was that those bills were signed into law in secrecy. We hope this is not another such strategy to sign that bill in secrecy, because we believe that the Bill 7 is an open bill. There's nothing they're hiding. It's just about increasing the numbers in Parliament, increasing everything, including the constituencies. But should it be signed in silence, then Zambian people will have to hold President Hakainde Hichilema to account, because he promised that they are listening government.
The opposition Socialist Party has described the deferment of Bill number 7 of 2025 by President Hakainde Hichilema as insufficient, arguing that Zambians are demanding a complete withdrawal of the bill as it does not reflect the aspirations of the people. In an interview, Socialist Party National Youth Secretary Stanley Mubata states that the party, along with many citizens, maintains its position that Bill number 7 should be entirely withdrawn. He urged the UPND administration to shift its focus to addressing pressing issues such as the high cost of living and the socio-economic challenges affecting the majority Zambians. Mr. Mbasa also accused the government of engaging selectively with traditional leaders and clergy who are perceived to be sympathetic to the ruling party. He further argued that the deferment of the bill is not necessarily a sign of the UPND's commitment to democratic dialogue, but rather a response to mounting pressure from various stakeholders who have consistently opposed the bill since its introduction.
We still maintain that that bill is not necessary as of now. What is necessary today is a bill probably which should focus on the cost of living, reduce the cost of meal, reduce the cost of fuel, look at issues of the cost of living, look at issues of load shedding. That is what is urgent now. When he says they have deferred, he has guided. I mean, he's playing on our mind. He thinks we are down. We are not down. We are not fools. We know that he wants to use this as an excuse so that when he comes back with his bill, in fact, it's not even supposed to be called the Bill 7. It should be called the HH Bill. Because he wants to use this as an excuse to say, when the people demanded, we listen to them, but the content won't change. And why is he being selective with a number of the clergy which he is listening to, who he can invite at State House? He is not supposed to be selective. The whole lot of 3/4 of the traditional leaders have rejected this document. Let the whole document be destroyed and be built by the people themselves, but not now after the 2026 general elections. Why they had now? Even him, he did not accept Bill 10, which he called poisonous. But this bill today is more poisonous, more dangerous than cholera and COVID-19 put together. We don't want it. Let's have a document that is going to be driven by the people after 2026 general elections. We can't continue to have a document that should reflect the aspiration of the UPND. If this president is so keen and so interested in amending the constitution that's when there is going to be proportional representative, let him start with the UPND constitution. Let him amend the UPND constitution and see willingness in inclusion of women, in inclusion with those that are disabled, in inclusion with the youth.
The Operation Young Vote has raised concerns on the voter apathy experienced in the just-ended Lumezi by-election, warning that low voter turnout weakens democratic processes and often works in favor of the ruling party. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Operation Young Vote Executive Director Ges Nyerenda noted that while the UPND's candidate Lufeo Ngoma emerged victorious with over 11,000 votes, the margin of about 3,000 votes between the winner and the runner-up was indicative of limited voter participation. He emphasized that strong democracies rely on high voter turnout and active citizen engagement. Mr. Nyerenda further challenged the UPND to maintain its support base in Lumezi heading into the 2026 general elections, stating that by-election results influenced by apathy should not be interpreted as long-term political dominance. He further condemned the acts of political violence reported during the electoral process and urged political parties to promote peaceful campaigns. Operation Young Vote also called on the Electoral Commission of Zambia to strengthen electoral integrity and ensure violence-free participatory elections.
We want to indicate that there was generally apathy in the sense that because if the registered voters are in huge thousands and only about is it 18,000 or so turned up to vote, it's actually something that is a cause to worry. And always at all times, if you go back in history, when there's voter apathy in a by-election, it favors the ruling party. So whatever the issue here, whether it's in the past, whether it's now, as long as there is a voter apathy, it is the ruling class or party that mainly emerges victorious. So it is good, yes, that the UPND got this seat, but the question is, are they able to sustain this seat when we get to 2026 general elections? Because then, if it is really a genuine win that they had, they will have to sustain it beyond the 2026 general elections. But we also want to indicate that there were a number of unfortunate flaws in the process. One of them is that we saw at the beginning, especially on the nomination day, where there was this very ugly face of violence, of course, between alleged between the UPND and the police and the Tonse Alliance or the Patriotic Front, which was quite sad. And really, any form of violence intimidates voters.
President Hakainde Hichilema has called for the local manufacture of malaria prevention tools and medicines as part of a broader strategy to enhance the country's capacity to combat the disease. Speaking in his capacity as patron of the End Malaria Initiative, President Hichilema emphasized the importance of reducing reliance on donor funding and instead investing in domestic pharmaceutical production. Meanwhile, Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary for Donor Coordination, Dr. George Sinyangwe, acknowledged that malaria remains a major public health concern in Zambia and the region. He noted that despite limited resources, the ministry is implementing strategic interventions aimed at achieving maximum impact. And EMC Chairperson Dr. Godwin Wene commended President Hichilema for his leadership in the fight against malaria, describing it as a model for the region. This was during a courtesy call at State House by a delegation from the End Malaria Council, EMC, led by Chairperson.
Cost the mosquito net, the treatment of those mosquito nets, the chemical, the drug, shouldn't use the chemical. The drug we use to treat those mosquito nets, it must be done here. And for us, whose agenda is growth of the economy, growth and more growth, these are the opportunities where we should put even more money in addition to your 500 hectares. But we can put more money in the pharmaceutical sector to Mr. Sang to produce the nets here enough. I think there was a company in Kafue that used to produce those nets some time back. I think Kwazi, it used to be called in Kwazi. I know you have forgotten, many of you. But let me stick to the point. We will be happy as your patron to drive the local manufacture of, equipment, drugs, medicines that will help. One, prevention. I'm clubbing the two. Prevention, two, treatment overall. I think we should work together. The ZAM chair there knows the drive we're pushing on the local manufacturing. And then we practice, as you know, your government is practicing now. Again, very controversial. People made a lot of noise and accusations about this fellow speaking here. Positive discrimination in our procurement decisions. As we're doing on fertilizer. Yes, we've injured friends of ours who have been trading in fertilizer for 30 years. But we want to manufacture fertilizer here. And we've done it. In 3 years, 10 months now, we are self-sufficient in basil dressing. We will be self-sufficient in top dressing. In fact, surplus, we're already exporting to 8 countries.
Economist Kelvin Chisanga says Zambia's drop in inflation to 14.1 for June 2025 signals a positive shift toward macroeconomic stability, but warns that persistent structural challenges continue to keep inflation above the Bank of Zambia's target range. Mr. Chisanga attributes the decline to a combination of factors, including the appreciation of the kwacha, which has been strengthened by increased foreign exchange inflows from robust mineral exports and enhanced external financial support. He also pointed to improved domestic food supply, driven by seasonal availability and high yields, as key contributions to easing price pressures. Despite the downward trend, the economist noted that the current inflation level remains significantly above the central bank's preferred 6 to 8% range. He emphasized that this reflects deeper issues within the economy, such as inefficiencies in agriculture, energy, and transport infrastructure, which require urgent policy attention. Mr. Chisanga has since urged the government to maintain fiscal discipline and monetary policy consistency while accelerating investments in productive sectors.
Zambia's annual inflation rate for June has fallen to 14.1%, marking a significant shift, which is also helping to give that view. What we have seen is that this is marking a lowest level in the 14th month. The decline is largely attributed to reduced food and transport costs, supported by a strong kwacha, increased mineral export earnings, and improved the seasonal availability of food staples and better domestic supply chains have further eased price pressure. However, we have noted that the inflation still remains above the policy corridor of Bank of Zambia's target of 6 to 8% of target, highlighting persistent structural changes which basically have continued also to work out from that perspective. But of course, in order to sustain this progress, continued fiscal discipline, stable monetary policy, and investment in agriculture, energy, logistic infrastructure are vital for long-term inflation control and the economic resilience.
We now go to Western Province, where Permanent Secretary Simomo Akapelwa has urged graduates from skills training programs to make use of the knowledge and competencies they have acquired to improve their livelihoods and contribute meaningfully to national development. Mr. Akapelwa reaffirmed the government's commitment to uplifting the lives of citizens through empowerment and skills development. He was speaking during the fourth graduation ceremony held at Namushekendi Community Training Center in Mongo, where 111 trainees graduated in various vocational fields. And Kitwe Community Development College Principal Charles Mumba described the graduation as a significant milestone in Zambia's efforts to build a workforce of skilled and professional individuals committed to combating poverty. Mr. Mumba encouraged members of the community to take full advantage of the training opportunities available in community development centers across the country. Our reporter Musiewo Kabila filed in this report.
A total of 111 students have graduated from Namsheke Skills Training Center in Mongo District during a colorful ceremony. The graduates received a certificate in various business skills, including carpentry and joinery, fashions and designing, technology, tailoring, bricklaying and plastering, and home management and catering. Officiating the occasion, Western Province Permanent Secretary Momo Akapelwa has called on the graduates to enhance the knowledge acquired.
The manifesto of the United Party for National Development, under the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema, places emphasis on the education of all types, including skills training, as an enabler. And it is now up to the graduates to build upon this. Remember that skills are only valuable if used to benefit yourself and those around you. There is strength in unity. Consider forming cooperatives or working in groups and bid for the many contracts available under CDF and other opportunities such as tailoring of school uniforms, providing catering services to weddings and other gatherings, etc.
Representing Director of Community Development, Changanongoi, Kitwe Community Development College Principal Charles Mumba had this to say.
The graduation we are witnessing today is a milestone in providing efforts towards achieving a nation of professionals and skilled personnel that will apply their knowledge and commitment to fighting poverty. The country needs their services critically for attainment of national development. This is the more reason why government has continued to support community development skill centers and colleges. I urge all members of the public to take advantage of the training opportunities available at our centers, such as the Namshake Skills Training Center. Remember that your character and commitment will define your success.
Meanwhile, others who spoke are Mongo Mayor Nyambe Mumbana and one of the graduates, Sylvester Mwene, appreciated the skills training offered to them.
Those are skills development papers, and we expect you to start utilizing them by utilizing your skills.
As graduates, we are grateful to the Republic of Zambia for emphasizing the need for the youths and all other people that need it to gain the skills, most especially the life-saving skills.
Musiewo Kabila, Camnet News in Namsheke area, Mongo District, Western Province.
You are still watching main news on Camnet TV, now broadcasting live on Topstar Channel 106, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube and KenStream app. We now take our first set of commercials, but do join us for more news when we come back. Do stay tuned.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
Are you looking for a reliable and efficient courier company with international standards? Then let UBZ Courier, your trusted partner in swift and secure deliveries, be your ultimate choice. Whether it's a small package or a hefty consignment, UBZ Courier handles it all, locally and internationally. Our modern call center ensures personalized attention for every client. For seamless deliveries within Zambia and beyond, trust UBZ Courier. Call us now on +260 763 062 680 or visit us at plot number 15 Mwapona Road, Woodlands, Lusaka, Zambia. UBZ Courier, a world-class brand that can be trusted.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back, and now in international news. In Kenya's northern KAKUMA refugee camp, traditional and modern dances have become a vital outlet for thousands of young people, offering a sense of purpose and distraction amid deepening uncertainty caused by ongoing funding cuts. Home to over 3,000 refugees from across East Africa, KAKUMA is one of the continent's largest refugee camps. Many of the children living there were born in the camp and have never known life outside its borders. Now, with humanitarian aid shrinking, their already limited food rations have been halved, currently standing at just 30% of the recommended daily nutritional intake per person. In this challenging environment, cultural expression through dance has become a means of emotional and psychological survival. Here's a roundup of international stories.
The Central African Republic government has declared 3 days of mourning after an explosion and a stampede that followed killed at least 29 school children and injured more than 250 at a high school in the capital city, Bangui. The Prime Minister Felix Malua visited the hospital with the injured students to assess their condition. The incident left parents shocked as they sought answers. The police called me and told me to come quickly to the community hospital because my daughter was there. She is among the victims from the Barthélemy Boganda High School. That's how I came to the hospital. At this health center, she was in critical condition and we had to transfer her here. When you have a child, you raise them to a certain age and you have to support their schooling because they are your future. Most of the victims, including 16 girls, died at the scene after the explosion resulted in a stampede, while others were confirmed dead at the hospital.
Nous avons arrivé à stabiliser la situation avec l'arrivée de la sécurité.
From yesterday until today, we have been on our feet. Yesterday was the worst. We managed to stabilize the situation with the arrival of security. We received 85 patients who were victims of yesterday's events at Bethlehem Boganda High School, 65 in emergency, 10 in gynecology, and 10 in traumatology. We regrettably had 15 deaths, young girls, 2 pregnant women, and 2 boys.
Et 2 enceintes, et puis 2 garçons.
At least 260 students were injured and being treated in various hospitals. An estimated 5,000 students were at the school for higher education exams at the time. Survivors recounted hearing a loud explosion from the transformers midway into the examination.
A landmark military court has officially begun proceedings in WOW, capital Western Bahr el Ghazal, aiming to address serious misconduct by members of South Sudan's People's Defense Forces, SSPDF. This move is seen as a critical step in enforcing discipline, upholding justice, and rebuilding trust between security forces and the civilian population. This will be accountable, and this accountability applies to everyone who has committed an offense. We begin with accountability. We're holding perpetrators accountable. They will behave according to government's rules. The court is set to hear 28 cases, including 15 related to serious crimes such as rape and murder. Civil society groups have welcomed the initiative, viewing it as a rare opportunity for justice in regions where legal access remain limited. The task is to represent the victim from the start of the proceedings to the final verdict. You also provide them with legal protection, as they might be fearful of speaking out or that something might happen to them afterwards. The UN mission is providing technical assistance to support the process, which is part of broader efforts to reform South Sudan's security sector. A civilian-military dialogue is scheduled for July 6 to further engage communities and explain the judicial process.
Life here at the KAKUMA refugee camp in northwestern Kenya has never been easy, but recent cuts to US aid programs have made it much harder, with food rations cut to just 30% of recommended basic needs. For these young residents of the camp, learning and practicing traditional dance is helping distract them from hunger and keep them away from abuse and crime.
They have to keep the culture alive because the moral values they learn from it, and also message of peace, convey message of peace, and then conveying message of togetherness on how they can be able to socialize with other communities. That's one of them. And also when children learn through cultures, they're able to showcase their heritage.
The dances they're learning belong to the Acholi culture from South Sudan and northern Uganda. Gladys says dancing helps keep her Ugandan roots alive. I got here when I was 12 years old, and now I'm 20. I like the traditional dance, because when I was home, I liked the traditional dances. Just 5 kilometers away in a neighboring village, 5 boys are practicing a very different dance in a small hall. The centre used to offer a range of activities for local youth, but the freeze on US aid means it's now under threat.
Now, we are now reducing some of the activities because we are few. The staff are few, and even per day is only one staff who is remaining in the center, and it is really hard for him or her to contact 500 children. We do duties like other children, they can stay outside the fence, and maybe after 30 minutes we remove them, and we also allowed others to come and practice.
finally, in sports news this evening, on a warm summer evening at Stade de Châtelet in Paris, three-time Olympic champion Faith made a bold bid to become the first woman to run a sub-4-minute mile. Although she narrowly missed the historic milestone, finishing in an impressive 4 minutes 6 seconds, Faith emerged from the effort proud and more resolute in her pursuit of greatness. The event, titled Breaking 4, Faith versus the 4-minute mile, was organized by Nike as an unofficial showcase and will not be recognized for official records. Nonetheless, Faith's time surpassed her own standing record of 4 minutes 7 seconds set in Monaco nearly 2 years ago.
On a warm summer evening at Stade Châtelet in Paris, three-time Olympic champion Faith Kipyegon gave her all in an audacious attempt to become the first woman to break the 4-minute mile barrier. Though she narrowly missed the mark, Kipyegon walked away proud of her effort and more determined than ever.
I give it all. How I started and how I finished, it was like one pace because it was, if you give everything, like if you give it all, you will not feel like you needed to, push more, because if you give everything, it's everything. So for me, I gave it all, and I think next time I will still keep it, give it all again to see, to see where I will make it. But I hope one time it will be there.
Kipyegon's time was faster than her existing world record of 4 minutes 7 seconds set in Monaco nearly 2 years ago.
It was not all about running a tactical race or going for the world record, but it was just a special race whereby you just have to give everything. So I gave everything, and I think the wave flights also gave everything. So the wave flights the wave flight gave everything, and I think it was wave flight time today, and I think next time I will catch up with the light.
The race, dubbed Breaking 4, Faith Kipyegon versus the 4 minutes mile, was organized by Nike as an unofficial event and won't count towards official records.
And that sports item brings us to the end of this edition of 9 News on Camnet TV. But before we go, we'll take a look at top stories. Socialist Party demands full withdrawal of Bill 7, says deferment not enough. Inflation drop encouraging, but structural reform still needed, says economist. Foreign Affairs Minister warns of possible U.S. travel ban over passport and immigration concerns. U.S. funding cuts threaten youth programs at Kenya's KAKUMA refugee camp. Faith falls short of historic sub-4-minute mile, but vows to keep pushing. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, coming from the book of Psalms, chapter 92, verse 13. It reads, "Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God." That ends the reading, and that ends the main news on Camnet TV. But dear viewer, a gentle reminder is that Camnet TV is not just another channel, now broadcasting live on Topstar channel 106, Facebook, YouTube, and KenStream app, streaming as Camnet TV. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Tapelo Joe Smarter. Good evening and God bless.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.